Hello, my name is Bonnie Hogabayev, and I'm a tarot and energy reader. And today I want to talk about a mantra that I am going to be using for the next month. And I just thought I would share it with others because it's kind of a strange mantra. Usually mantras are positive, right? That we use mantras to validate something within us, and in order to, I guess, almost reprogram those areas within us that have false programming or programming that other people have given us that has given us some false beliefs about ourselves. But this mantra that I came up with as I woke up this morning is a little bit different. I've been going through the IVF process the past couple of weeks, and it's been quite a roller coaster ride. And, one of the things about the IVF process is that what we're really trying to do is, obviously we're trying to have a baby, but we're trying to circumvent nature in many ways, right? We're trying to have a baby even though it's not happening naturally. There's just this element of control that is within this IVF process. In the last couple of weeks, I've been doing a lot of research on IVF, researching all the meds that I'm being given, the process, how it's done. And, my background is that I'm a researcher, so I'm very much a natural researcher. But that also highlights something within me that I've always struggled with, which is I feel this need to know. The thing about being a researcher is that you are seeking for knowledge. That is the very definition of a researcher. And so, in this process of researching, there is something about this idea that when we research for knowledge, when we have a goal like IVF, we feel like if we're able to find that perfect set of information, then things are going to work out. Working with like quantitative data, for example, which I did for a long time, it's about trying to increase our likelihood of something. And if you're able to increase your likelihood of something, then it's just going to happen, right? And it's almost like trying to find that information that is going to make us think we have an advantage. After going through this first cycle of IVF, I can truly say that I actually don't know anything. I love Google. Google is amazing, especially for a researcher and a person that is curious and naturally curious. I love Google. I love that I live in an age where I can Google anything. But after a while, where I'm feeling right now is it's time for me to admit that I really actually don't know anything. And there's something about that, that feeling. I woke up this morning and I realized that I needed to embrace this phrase, I don't know. It's a scary thing for me to embrace because, my history when I was a child was, my parents just didn't think I was very smart. Looking back, I think I was a very creative child living in a world that was very academic. I was born in Hong Kong. I went to first grade in Hong Kong, and everything was very academic. And, honestly, when I look back, I feel like I just didn't really understand the educational system. And I really, really didn't understand the educational system or how to learn, really, until I got into college. And when I got into college, I was able to study the things that I actually wanted to study. I felt like I had a new lease on life in many ways. And I pushed myself to study. And that made me feel really empowered. I felt really empowered to be able to study what I wanted to study and do well at it. And in doing well at something, I think it made me want to search for more knowledge. And so, when I went into marketing and did well there, and it was a very data-driven type of marketing, and then moving into research, which is also data-driven, it was really empowering to have all of that knowledge. But what I'm realizing as I go through this process, all of the ups and downs, is that we can prepare for something like IVF, with as much knowledge as possible. But at the end of the day, it's either going to work or not work. And for someone at my age, I'm trying to balance between being realistic and having hope and just recognizing that I can't control it, even though in many ways, like I said, we are trying to control something with IVF, right? We're taking an egg and we're taking a sperm, we're putting it together, and we are trying to control this into happening. And at the end of the day, it's either going to work or not work. Just because we are trying to control this as much as possible doesn't mean it's going to work. So what I realized this morning is that for the next month or so, as we go into another cycle of IVF, I want my mantra to be, I don't know. It's a strange one, but when I said this in my mind, I felt a real visceral reaction in my body. And that's because for so long, I pretended to know. I didn't want people to think I was stupid. When I was a little girl, my parents and my family really didn't think I was very intelligent at all, and that was, and I was a very shy child as well. I didn't really say very much. I didn't respond. And so in that way, I can see why maybe they had thought that. So yeah, going back to this mantra about I don't know, having that be my mantra for the next month. As I sat with this statement of I don't know, I felt my solar plexus chakra, my solar plexus, which is our center of our personal power. But our solar plexus is also our center of our identity. So I've created a whole identity, a whole Bonnie, who is all about knowing in many ways, right? Whether that was in my research career or in my tarot and energy reading career, right? I made a life, or made, an identity based on knowing something. And I could feel that energy was tired within me. I didn't want to keep up some charade like I always know that I know. Because I don't know. And and, I, and as someone who is very analytical, I have this I don't know, I have this thing where I think that I can figure it out, right? Like, I feel like if I can just get the right information, or even from a spiritual perspective, I think if I just do the right things, then I will have tricked the system enough for my desired outcome to be what it is. And that's just not true. But somehow I believe that. And so to sit with this notion of I don't know, I I feel this itchy pain. It's like when I just sit and say I don't know, I feel this itchy pain that is in my solar plexus. And my solar plexus is saying, like, you have asked me to hold this identity for so long, and I don't want to be that identity anymore. It's a really, really humbling feeling to just admit that I don't know everything. And that my doctors probably don't know everything. And that we can influence things as much as possible. And we can do all the things that's necessary to move things along. But at the end of the day, I don't know. And neither does the doctor. I just feel like we live in this society where we need to know, we live in a society where we've got 24-hour media happening 24/7. There is knowledge available to us. And it makes us think, it just makes us value knowledge so much. And as a tarot reader, I tell people that I don't read the future. I can read the energy of what is happening right now, and if the cards want to say some things about the future, I will say them, but the future's not set in stone yet, right? And yet I find myself wanting to know the future. I remember when, before I met my husband, and I was meditating about meeting my husband, wanting to meet my person, right? The love of my life. I wanted to know. I wanted to know so bad, and my guide was telling me, well, why would you want to ruin the surprise? Why would you want to ruin what fun is it for you to know how all of this is going to happen? It's because it's going to happen in a way that is beyond your imagination. And it absolutely did, for those of you who have heard the story, and maybe some other time I will tell the story of how we got together. It is pretty amazing. And so I'm trying to just take that lesson to heart and and surrender. And the thing about surrender is, surrender isn't about giving up. It's not about saying, I'm just not going to do this anymore. Surrender really is this very thing that I'm talking about, this mantra of I don't know. It's admitting that we just don't know. And to just let it come however it comes, to let it be however it wants to be. And so, for these next few weeks, I am going to just keep that mantra of I don't know. And I'm going to sit with it. And this phrase, I don't know, I'm going to let this phrase permeate my energy field. Because I can feel this phrase, I don't know, this nausea. It's working its way into something that is very, very deep within me. And so, if you're also going through a time where there's a lot in which you cannot control, I invite you to join me in this mantra of I don't know. And just allow yourself to close your eyes, get grounded, visualize a beam of light traveling down from the base of your spine to the center of the earth. And then say the words, I don't know. I don't know. Just giving ourselves such full permission to not know, and for that to be okay. And when you say those words, I don't know, you may feel a reaction in your system. And just notice. Notice what sensations come up. Right now I'm feeling it between my solar plexus and my heart space. It almost feels like it's making its way through this block between my heart space and the solar plexus. It's saying, it's okay to not know. And then you may feel the sensation in a different area. Like right now, I'm feeling it where my ovaries are. And it makes a lot of sense that I may be feeling it here since I've been taking hormones to stimulate my ovaries. And there's an amount of force that's happening when we're stimulating our ovaries. So I'm just letting this I don't know energy to release any tension in the ovaries. And so for you, it may be different. Maybe there's a different area of your body where you're feeling this phrase, this mantra, I don't know. I guess in many ways this is kind of an act of active surrender, but the word surrender can be very charged for some people. So try this phrase, I don't know. You know, and sometimes just that mere self-honesty that we don't know can just be so incredibly powerful. So that is all I have for you today. I am feeling complete in what wanted to be voiced, and hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful day.